The request a story feature is just so cool. So basically what it allows you to do is ask a question and then get people to submit responses. The common thing, so I just had a client whose father's, I think it was his 80th birthday come up. She's one of 7 children, a lot of grandchildren, wanted to compile stories from the kids and the grandkids about grandfather, right? So she has a bucket, a collection called Dad Stories. You can create the collection here on the fly if you don't have a bucket already. And then what she did is she actually typed up a note, and she recorded a little video of herself asking the question. So here Sue is going to ask her siblings and her nieces and nephews and her own children to record and submit story. So she records a little video of herself. Hi, it's Sue, and you know that granddad's 75-year birthday is coming up here real soon, and what we want to give for him as a gift is just a collection of stories, favorite memories that you have of him as you were growing up. And so what I'd like you to do is just, follow the prompts on the screen that you'll see here and record and submit your story to me. And thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I think Granddad's going to love it. So I recorded this little message. Hi, it's Sue, and you know that, okay, if I'm happy with it, great. If not, I can do take 2. So this is step 2. I'm recording my ask. Step 3, there's just a few parameters. Most of this stuff, you can just leave it as it is. Some of this stuff is unique to businesses, like using your organization information, having a custom call to action may not apply to family stories, but super cool for businesses, especially like nonprofits and things that are seeking donations and stuff. It's very cool. So favorite grandpa story. All right, I'm going to give that the title. And then everybody that submits a response to this, it'll be favorite grandpa story by Sue, favorite grandparent story by Christian, favorite grandparent story by Rhonda, etc. They'll just have their name associated with it. And I can say whether I want audio or video, or I don't care. And I can say, try to keep it under 3 minutes or less. Doesn't matter if they go over, whatnot. Then I generate a QR code and a link. So Rakonto is now uploading this story. It's processing it. And I can take this and I can send the QR code or the link to all of my family members. And, and you can actually even try this. You could scan this QR code with your phone right now. The link is here. Let's see. I'm putting it in the chat. So it generates a link that looks like this, which can be sent through text. You could send that through Facebook Messenger, however you want to send that. Or you could just copy the paste the link in the email or the QR code. And if you click on that link in the computer desktop setting, it's going to look like this, right? There's going to be a message from Sue. There's a little video that they can play. Hi, it's, this will look similar on their mobile phone. Then they'll hit next, and then they'll record video. On a phone, it will ask them, to record video, and it will take them to their native camera. And so if I record this video, let's see. All right. Sue, I'm so glad you asked the question. My favorite memory of Grandpa was going fishing. We would go fishing early in the morning. He would pick me up at 3:30 in the morning from our house. We would go over to his house in Magna. Grandma was up and she was making corned beef hash or pancakes or something. We'd grab a quick bite to eat. By 4 o'clock in the morning, we were on the road. At 5:30, we were at Vernon Creek, past Tooele. And we would just start catching brown trout like mad. By the time it was 7:30, 8 o'clock, we'd have our limits. We'd clean our fish. We'd take them home and stick some of them in the freezer and fry up some for a late breakfast. And I just loved going fishing with my grandfather during the summers. We would go 2 or 3 times a week, and we had so much fun. And those are my favorite memories of him. So I recorded this story, right? Sue, I'm so glad you asked. And 27 other people are recording stories like this. And I submit this and I give Sue consent to use this recording. And now it's going to be processing that recording. If I go to favorite grandpa story here in Dad Stories, let's see. Okay, so here's favorite grandpa story. That was my request. Here's the response, favorite grandpa story by Christian. It's processed it. And now I can see it.
I'm so glad you asked the question.
And then, I can give grandpa the link to Dad's stories. He can come in and he can view all the stories that we've all left for him. I can also download all of Dad's stories. So I can click here. I can download all the video files here. I can give them to him on a thumb drive or something like that if he wants more permanent storage and not just viewing it on the website. And also, I could ask my siblings to say, hey, you recorded a story about grandpa. Do you have any photos? Right? I can give them a request and say, hey, upload some photos here. And I basically create this whole like mini story experience. It's almost like a website that's for grandpa that has all of those stories and the photos on there. And that's a family use case. In a business use case, they're doing the same thing to get testimonials. They're sending out links on QR codes. They're printing them on postcards and sending them to clients. People are scanning them, recording them, and submitting their messages. We're doing a lot of work with speakers. And so a lot of professional speakers are using this in their presentations. At the end of the presentation, they're putting up a slide and saying, folks, just take 30 seconds, scan this QR code. Tell me what's the most impactful thing that you learned here today. Just leave me a little message. I've got a little prize for you. Just leave the message and you'll see it when you submit it. And, they might have a link with it, to get a free book or something like this, at the end of that. So that's how businesses, it's one of the ways that businesses are using the platform. But I love this tool for this family reason, because it's a great way to get family stories from a lot of people really fast without having to go around and interview all of them and on Zoom and then figure out, well, how am I getting the recording and blah, blah, blah. You can just send these out. Let's say I'm a client. I'm gonna log out of here and I'm gonna say, oh, let me log in with another account. I'll do this demo one. So I say, okay, what I'm gonna do is I want Janine to record my mother's story and I want her to put it on the website for me. So Janine says, all right, Christian, what I want you to do is create a Rakonto account and then give me the access to manage your library. So I go in, I create my account. It comes into here. I have a new account, pretend none of this stuff is here. And then I say, oh, I want Janine to manage it. So what I do is I assign Janine as a team member. I go here and I just put in Janine's email address. So I would type in Janine's email address here, and I'll just put in my email address right now. And it will only allow you to assign your library to be managed by a professional user. So if you want to manage other people's libraries, you have to subscribe to the professional version of software. But don't worry, because I'm going to give you a screaming deal at the end of today. It's coming up. Don't worry about it. So then I add, so in this case, I'm adding Christian at Rakonto as a team member. So now it shows me here as a team member. So that's all that's all your client has to do. To create an account, all they have to do is put in their email address and verify it. The account is created. And then they come in and to team members and assign you as a team member. And now you have access to manage their library on their behalf. So let's say you've recorded 3 interviews with a person, and now you want to upload these into that person's library. So now I'm going to log out and I'm going to log back in as myself. Okay. So then what I do, if I'm going to manage somebody else's library, yes, Janine, yes, we can upload the video. So I'm going to show you how that's done. So if I want to do that, I go here in my profile and I say, I want to switch library. And now I can manage many people's libraries, but here I have demo at Rakonto.io. This is the account that just gave me permission to manage their library. So if I choose that and switch my library. Now what I will see is I will see that person's library, and I can add stories into this library on behalf of this person. So they don't have to do anything. I can administer it for them. And you might think to yourself, well, gosh, that could be complicated, but it's actually not that complicated. Generally speaking, when the people come in, they will have one collection. It's a new collection and no stories. And in most cases, you may just want to add the stories that you're recording, the recordings that you do, to that default collection that the person created. And to do that, what you would simply do is just go here to create a new story. And you have to follow a simple 3-step process. You would give it a title. And so you would think about it. Okay, I did an hour interview and it's here in this Zoom recording. And now I'm going to put that Zoom recording here on Rakonto. So I'm going to give this any kind of name that I want. Maybe I call it Aunt Marla's life story. And I might want to describe, and these can be changed, but you give it a name, you give it a description, and then you upload that recording that you did on Zoom. All right, so I'm going to drag. Okay, so now what Rakonto is doing is it's uploading this story, Aunt Marla's life story, the first interview. It's going through a conversion process. It's going to convert this recording. Depending on the size of the recording, it might take a few minutes to 10 to 15 minutes to process it. Aunt Marla's life story is finished, and now it's uploaded in here and it's processed. So here's the video, and I can see Aunt Marla's life story. Okay, and if I want to, I can view this video. Hi, this is Christian Napier. So it's captioned up. The captions are not all correct. Well, I can go in and I can fix these captions. I can go to my transcript editor here, and I can edit. It will follow along as I play this. You can be the founder and CEO of Rakonto. Thank you. So it actually plays along and highlights words. And I might say, oh, well, Christian should be capitalized. So I go through and I correct these and I save. Or just leave it as it is. It's up to you guys. So it's automatically transcribing, which is great. So now you can export this transcript as a PDF file, as a Word document, as a text file, or as JSON if you wanted to give it to a web developer, right? But if I exported this, for example, to a Word document, it asks me to save the file. So I save it, and then let's see, I'll open it. And so now the transcript will be available in a Word document, which I can then edit and I can search, replace, and do whatever, right? So this is a very simple way to handle transcription. Okay, so Deborah says, so if you publish a video with a raw transcript and they don't want to pay you for you to clean it up, they can go and do it themselves. Absolutely, they can do that, right? So they have the account, they can go in and they can edit the transcript. That's right. So they can definitely do that. Now there's some other things that are powerful that you or your clients can do with respect to that. One is here in a story, I can request content. So let's say my client has paid for me to interview her mother to capture the stories. So I'm in there, I'm recording stories, I'm uploading them to the website, but actually my client's sister is the one who has all the family photos. So what I can do here in this request content thing is I can actually click this button and I can ask the sister to upload content. Hi, this is your sister. Can you upload photos of mom when she lived in Richland, and you can say, you can give it a little title, Richland photos or something like this. And you can specify, do you want any kind of file or just images? So let's say it's just images because I'm looking for photos, right? And I generate this request, and then what it does is it generates a QR code. It also generates a link. I can send this link to my sister, or I can put my sister's name right here. Let's I'll put this email address here and sister, and add this. And what this is going to do is going to send an email to my sister, or my client's sister, I should say, right? It'll send that person an email. And then when that person gets this email, invitation from Rakonto. So here's a link to upload your content. Just put it here, right? So she clicks on the link. Sister clicks on the link and says, can you upload photos of mom? And so sister can just drag and drop the photos right here. Oh yeah, here are the photos, these photos, and she uploads them here and then hits next, and she puts in her name and email, basically giving consent for the sister to put these photos online, submits it. Okay, now it's done. Okay, so the photos will be there. So then when I come in here, if I refresh this page, let's see, there are the photos. So it's a super easy way to get family members who have photos to share the photos and include them with the story. Now these photos are associated with this story. And the cool thing about having these photos associated with these stories is if I go back into the collection, I go to the photos, it tells me which stories these photos are related to. And if I want to see that story, I click here. Oh, and here's the story where so-and-so is talking about the photo. I'm going to walk you through the process of how the content is shared. And then you can work on a process or a workflow between you and your client to agree how things are done. So here's how content is shared in the system. It's basically a two-step process. The first step is here at this collection level. I'm looking here at this collection. And in this collection, there is a share button. It's down here. If I press this share button, it then gives me some options. And one of those options is it allows me to determine who can see this collection. Now, it might be that your client only wants this collection to be shared and viewed by certain people. And if that's the case, you can make sure that this collection is private. They all default to private. And then you can put in the email addresses of the people who should have access to this collection. If the collection is private, only people with these email addresses can access the collection. They'll have to create Rakonto accounts, which they can do for free. It'll send them an email and saying, hey, a collection has been shared with you by so-and-so. To view this collection, click here. And when they click here, they'll need to create an account. They'll just put in their email address, verify it, then they'll be able to come in and view the collection. So it's pretty simple. So again, if your client wants to keep it private, just within the family, share it with a few people, then they can just put their email addresses in here, and Rakonto will send those people links, and they can come in and view the collection. If the family or the account holder says, you know what, I want anybody to see it. So, I got a lot of extended family and we're all okay to just make sure we can share it publicly. Then you can change this toggle over here to anybody can view this collection. And then you can copy the link. So this is like, copying a link to anything. So you just copy it and then you can share that link however you want. If they want to, Facebook Messenger their family members and stuff and say, hey, come over here and see this collection. Here's the link. Then those people can click on it and they can actually come in and view the collection. They don't even have to create Rakonto accounts to do so because you've identified the collection as public. So Janine's comment, this is wonderful. I've always worried about how the interviews get distributed to all the family members, friends, or loved ones, or if they get lost. So yes, that's one of the reasons that we created it like this is so you have control over how the content is shared. But this is just one step. So one step is to share this collection. But then you have the individual stories within the collection. So let's say you recorded 5 interviews, and this interview is the first of the 5, for example, and you've gone through and you have reviewed the transcripts and you've made all the corrections and everything is just perfect, and you've uploaded photos and blah blah, and you're just very excited and very happy with it. If you want other people to then see it, then you just toggle this switch over here on the right hand side of the page from draft to publish. So basically, people who have rights to access the collection, to view stuff in the collection, they'll only see stories that have the status of published. So this gives you, again, much more control, because you can say, okay, I've uploaded the 5 recordings or the 10 recordings or however many I have. And as I go through those recordings, I can determine when people can see them. Now, the nice thing about this is when you have reviewed one and you're happy with it, when you click publish, anybody with whom the collection has been shared will receive an email saying, hey, a new story has been added to so-and-so's collection. So this is kind of cool because you're not limited to releasing everything at the same time. And it might be that you conduct some interviews now and you publish them, and then you conduct some interviews later, and then you publish those when they get ready. So in the case of my uncle, for example, what he wanted was the story to kind of be chopped up in little vignettes. And these are little stories that were like 5 minutes long, 7 minutes long, or whatever. And then those stories just get released progressively, almost like a podcast. And the family members and friends who have access to the story, it's very much like that. When a new vignette, new story pops up, then they get excited. It's like, oh, hey, got a new story from my Uncle Barry. And then they go click on it, the link that's in their email, and it takes them into Rakonto, and they can watch or listen to that specific story.